All right, hi YouTube. So this is the Pocket Change Finance podcast, and this is the visual portion of the audio podcast. Um, Kind of separate but equal. This is the part where I'm going to talk about the same kind of topics that I would talk about on the finance podcast. If you're interested in listening to the audio portion of Pocket Change, please go to Anchor app and find Pocket Change podcast, or you can find it in the iTunes Store, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Breaker Podcasts. You can find it in a whole bunch of different places. Literally just Google Pocket Change Podcast, and you can find us. So this is, again, if you didn't get to see the last video about kind of the intro to what Pocket Change is, it is a finance podcast aimed at younger people, people under the age of 40 that really don't know much about finance. So that kind of explains it a little bit, but today this specific video is going to talk about me and a little bit of a biography about who I am and what I do. And I said this in the last episode too, or if you've just came from the previous video, then you would know. This is not, immediately, just turn this off and don't subscribe if you think that I'm going to talk about Bitcoin, if you think I'm going to talk about getting rich, or get rich quick, or how to make X amount of money. That's not what this is about. This is really about recaps of how the market went during a particular day. But I do reserve usually the weekends when the market isn't open to go over finance topics too. So the Pocket Change podcast is all about finance topics in the markets for what happened that day, and then just in general a daily kind of finance topic on a weekend day. So we're gonna get right into it with who am I? So my name is Matt, and I live in Massachusetts, and I'm 25 years old, and I have a degree in finance, a bachelor's degree in finance. I did pretty well in school. My last year, my senior year, ended up both semesters on the dean's list with really high grade point averages for pretty intensive finance classes. It was the most intensive finance classes that you could take, and I did really well in them, really excelled, and I ended up getting my bachelor's in finance. So that was in 2017 when I graduated from college, and I immediately got a job right out of college, which I got very, very lucky. A lot of people that I know did not get the same. A lot of people did not get a job right out, and it was in my field. I ended up working for a local Massachusetts government municipality. So I worked for a town in the finance department of the town. I ended up being mostly in accounts payable, which is exactly what it sounds like. It's the accounting side of paying people. And then I also did a little bit of accounts receivable, which is on the receiving end, and that is taking payments. So I got to kind of experience two parts of the finance cycle, which is accounts payable and accounts receivable. So taking money in and then giving money out as part of the process. I did that for a little bit over a year, almost a year and a half, before I transitioned to going to work for a private company, so no longer government, no longer municipality, in software. So now I'm in the finance department of a software company, and that is where I've been for, I haven't quite been there for a year yet, but we're getting there. And yeah, it's just a continuation. Uh, Municipalities are very different compared to working for a company. Um, and that's all I have to say about that is they both, like the things that you do in finance, like right now I'm in accounts receivable in the software company in the finance department, but it was very different from the accounts receivable working at like a municipality. So instead of like trying to collect tax money, I'm just trying to collect on collections, on orders and things like that, sales that the company did. So it's very different. It's not the same. And well, if you know finance, then like the actual process is the same, but the workflows are not the same. And it's been a lot of fun to learn one and then to go complete opposite to the other. It's really interesting to see, and I'm not even that old, and I've already experienced that. How interesting, like both sides kind of are. Same thing, but very different. So yeah, I have a degree in finance. I got a job immediately right out of school in a finance department of I think we were $150 million a year in annual tax revenues for the